So if you know me, one of the things I focus on is building business by referrals rather than chasing individual customers because it helps you scale your business. It also gives you a higher quality business to work on. I particularly work with attorneys and related vendors in the probate case, but there's a whole world of potential professionals you might want to work with. My colleague, Justin Stoddart, has a whole program where he helps real estate agents looking to build their real estate business. I think he mentioned 31 different professional groups called ProInsight. I've watched his YouTube channel for a while, had a chance to catch up with him. And Justin, thank you for taking time with us today.
Bill, it's my pleasure. It's great to see you again.
What was the impetus to take you from, or did you start off involved in building a professional network as opposed to going after individual consumers?
You know, it began actually when I was a high-end home builder. I was a luxury home builder for about a decade. And at the time I was only 25 years old. I had a small personal sphere, and yet I wanted to work by referral. I'm a relational guy, and I realized really quickly that my personal sphere was not going to deliver the $1 million custom home clients that I wanted. And so I began to join local professional networking groups like BNI and attend chamber events. And even though I made lots of good friendships and lots of supportive people who wanted to help me, I found that it was not a very profitable endeavor, because most of the people, although they wanted to help me, they weren't positioned in the marketplace in such an industry where they could help me. And I had a bit of an aha when I was talking with an interior designer who was a dear friend of mine, a big fan of mine. And she said, hey, I can open the door to some, to some architectural designers for you who could probably give you a lot of business. And I realized as I began having conversations with them that I didn't need to even have a huge professional network. I just needed to have the right professional network. That a few key professionals who were situated just upstream from building a home would be able to deliver to me clients just before they needed me. And that became a bit of a theme for my career moving forward. When I came into the real estate industry, I began to implement and teach that principle. And I realized it worked just as well for real estate agents as it did for high-end home builders. And I later was invited to and took up the opportunity to author a book on that, which is the upstream model, and really began to hone in on helping professionals in the real estate industry to work by professional referral, right? We're all have been kind of well-versed, and I think Brian Buffini and others have done a good job of teaching people how to work by referral from a personal sphere. And yet the professional sphere, in my opinion, is much more scalable and gives you clients who even trust you more because they're coming from a vetted professional with whom they already have a relationship with. So that's really, again, become my whole thrust is really to help people to build a professional sphere so they can work by professional referral.
And, I got your book, actually, now I think back. And I myself made a list of, because every market's a little different. The way business is done in LA is different than other cities. Yeah. And so for me, I said, well, who are all the different people that I could touch? They're professionals that might get customers like this regularly. And I made a list of them, and I realized, well, there's a couple that I uniquely could approach and go after. One of the groups I see you spend a fair amount of time on, and probably is a very rich vein for most people or opportunity, is wealth management or registered investment advisors. Talk about that one uniquely. How, because they're also a hard club to get into, but they're a very valuable club once you're inside the door. Talk a little bit about the unique challenges of that group.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I've found that that's one of my favorites, in part because they tend to be the center of all things financial for people. When people are making any significant change in their world, the financial advisor is typically in the know, at least with people who have money, which is a great niche to spend a lot of time on if you're a real estate agent. It's people who have enough money to have a financial advisor who's actively engaged in their life. And so ideally, or naturally, a financial advisor has a database, or I should say a client base of 300 to 500 people who are your potential ideal candidates. Now, when I began authoring the book, as I had uncovered a couple agents who had done a good job with this kind of niche, I began to really quiz financial advisors, asking them how many opportunities they have in a given year to refer to a real estate agent. And the number was pretty synonymous amongst all of them. It was about 18, right? So more than one a month. You think about what that would do for most agents. Now, keep in mind, Bill, that this is unprompted. This isn't a financial advisor asking, are you preparing or anticipating making a move in the upcoming year? That's simply when the clients raise their hand to say, hey, I think we're going to be selling a property. And so if there's 18 that happen, imagine what would happen, or 18 opportunities. Imagine what would happen if we actually trained the financial advisor how to actually begin asking that of all of their clients, right? On average, if people move every 10 years, and it's a little lower than that right now, but in a typical year, right, every 10 years, a database of 500 clients would return, 10% of that, which means 50 people or one every week listing their home. And that's just primary residences, let alone investment properties, et cetera. So the opportunity is quite large. Here's the other side of that coin that I uncovered when I began to ask financial advisors, which is how many of those 18, which could be 50, by the way, but of those 18, how many are you referring? And the answer was also almost synonymous, which was rarely do I refer that to a real estate agent. So at the time I was not an active agent, but I began to really dig in to say, tell me why. Tell me what's the disconnect. And I began to uncover that for them, they didn't see themselves on an equal playing field as real estate agents. They saw a real estate agent as a transactional professional that was involved in their life for 3 to 4 months. And then they put them on a drip campaign and hope to see them in another 10 years when they were looking to buy or sell, to where they didn't garner enough influence to really change much. And so they didn't see the value of bringing them to the table, of referring them. It seemed more like a risk, right? If I'm like, what if they don't do a good job? And so that became kind of a deep cause of me to go deeper to say, what would cause a financial advisor to want to? Because we can't twist their arm if they don't want to. We can teach them all day long that it's good for the real estate agent, but if it's not good for them, or if they don't perceive it's good for them, they're not going to do it. And what I began to uncover with financial advisors is that they have a real pain point. And that pain point is that they're oftentimes the last professional to know that someone is buying and selling property, right? And the reason why is, when you think about it, last time you bought a home or sold a home, did you call your financial advisor to get insight from them? In most cases, the answer is no, right? In most cases, you talk to a lender, you talk to your real estate agent, right? Maybe talk to a tax professional, but not always the financial advisor is involved. Now, the reason why that's a pain point for a financial advisor is because as a financial advisor, the way you oftentimes find out about that is that somebody calls you for a wire transfer. I need $300,000 wired.
Exactly. I just did this. I saw you saying this because I did this like a month ago on investment property I'm buying, and I literally called them up and said, I just need a wire transfer. And what are you doing? What do you mean?
Exactly. That's the pain point. Or after the fact, you sell an investment property and you've got it. Now you're more savvy than, the average consumer, Bill, but some will just have that sitting in a savings account somewhere, $250,000 sitting in a savings account somewhere because it's a nice, safe place to sit. Little do they know, or little does the financial advisor know, that they're missing out on what could be an opportunity for them to increase, right? The amount of money that they are managing for that particular family. And so as a financial advisor, it's like, how do I change my clients' minds to want to talk to me when I'm a financial advisor and they're buying real estate? Those seem like, right? So, the real eye opener for me came when I began to coach real estate agents through the process of saying, if you were to go to a financial advisor and actually let them know that you can help them to brand themselves with their own client base, to where every time their clients think about buying or selling property, they call you first. And immediately I had every financial advisor's like, excuse me? Like they'd call me? Like, whoa. Because that's the pain point, right? Is that they want to be at least like consulted when that massive amount of money is moving around. And so I found a very simple way for a real estate agent, not only to have that conversation, but to make it to where the clients of the financial advisor actually do go to the financial advisor prior to making a real estate move, right? So I don't know if you want me to go into that now, but that became a real place of opportunity for both the financial advisor as well as the real estate agent. I'm
curious. I mean, I'm not doing it today. I'm curious. What is it that you do to put yourself in that position? That sounds like a strategically great place to be.
Perfect. So as a real estate agent, it's very easy to create a CMA. So here's what most financial advisors do when they're doing an annual review with their clients. They'll go to Zillow, right? My financial advisor as well, go to Zillow to get an entire financial picture of what's happening, right?
Right.
And we all know that Zestimates are not that reliable, right? And so as a financial advisor, if you give them a Zestimate, the client says, I can get a Zestimate, right? They don't think of this being any added real value to them. But when a real estate agent goes to a financial advisor to say, hey, what if I could help you to where every time one of your clients are buying or selling a property, they think of you first. And the financial advisor says, yes, tell me how. It says, prior to each one of your annual reviews with your clients, do me a favor, just let me know your client's name and property address. I'll do an unsolicited CMA. I'll review it with my own eyes, not just a computer algorithm, and I'll make any adjustments. I'll sign the bottom of it, and I'll give it to you, to where now you as a financial advisor, when you sit with your clients, you can say, let's take a look at the whole financial picture. I have a trusted real estate resource who I work closely with, who did me a favor and actually did a comparative market analysis on your property and reviewed it against what's happening in the community, which, by the way, Zillow's not going to do for you, which is what's changing with local employers, what's happening in the general community that may cause this price to be on upward trend or downward trend. And they sign the bottom of it. So where now the client's saying like, wow, I now correlate my financial advisor with a real estate agent, right? Right. Or I should say with my real estate, right? To where, and then the financial advisor says, look, if you're ever thinking about making a change to your real estate, just let me know and let's talk about it, right? But they did it by adding value first.
Sure.
Now, it probably wasn't, it's not too difficult for a real estate agent to see why that would be valuable for them. Now, if any of you are thinking like, that sounds like a lot of work, you're missing the point here, is that by doing that one simple exercise, which there's technology out there that can help you to do it very quickly, you can actually be in the annual review meeting with every one of your financial advisor's clients without having to physically be there. And when those clients say, we appreciate you doing this, those couple of rental properties, we think we're going to sell them, we're going to buy that vacation home that we've always been wanting, you've already done a CMA on the property. It doesn't matter who they've used in the past. Your financial advisor is using somebody, they'll at least give you a shot at it, right? There's a really high chance you're going to get a pretty early seat at that table to try and get that business. So
phenomenal. Love it. No, I love the same way. I think the same thing. And I do probate real estate. And when I tell attorneys, don't just go into Zillow Redfield, let me do a CMA for you. And we'll do a drive-by and get pictures and see the condition of the property to make our assessment. Zillow's not going to do that. And that way they have a picture to give to the customer as well as an analysis. So wow, that's fantastic. Same thing.
Brilliant.
One of the challenges I can imagine is you want to get business with successful wealth planners or any professional.
Yeah.
When you're starting out, you're on the come up, is like imposter syndrome, right? I'm a newer agent, or I'm an agent who's been struggling, but I'm ready to break through. How do I work on par with the really successful wealth manager? Now I know the wealth manager who's really successful, he's looking for the hungry guy to work with. I know myself, I would work with hungry loan officers. The ones who are really successful, they're a little lazy these days. I want the young, hungry guy to come up. But how do you coach somebody around, gee, I'm new, they're never going to work with me. They're some top dog with their name on the sign on the building, and I'm just me starting out in real estate.
Yeah, I think, the most important attribute, even more so than how successful they are, is if they like real estate, right? Because if they're going to talk all your clients out of buying real estate, that's not a good place to create a partnership, right? So typically they need to own real estate themselves, and they have to see the value of having real estate investments. If not, I wouldn't go there, right? And likewise, you need to have a belief that in a well-balanced portfolio that money belongs in the market, right? If you're like, no, all of it should be in real estate, you're gonna have a hard time convincing a financial advisor to want to be in business with you, right? So both sides need to come from a place of having that kind of balanced approach.
Interesting. Interesting, and you say that. I probably should have an account with that guy, or I mean, some of these wealth managers have huge minimums that I can't qualify for. But, I do business with a wealth manager that I'm a client with because, I believe in what they do and trust them. And it's interesting you say that now I think about it.
And I think a simple question is, how do you feel about real estate, right? If it's like, I love real estate, it's part of my portfolio, I own some properties. Great, perfect, right? If it's like, if they simply go into all the reasons why it's risky, all this stuff, it's like, yeah, great. It's been a nice conversation. But I think in addition to that, I think one of the more important things you can look for is someone who's hungry, right? I would take somebody who's hungry to grow their practice over someone who has a huge established practice. Yeah. And I say that because somebody who has a huge established practice, they aren't looking to add more value to their clients. They're just not. They're kind of on cruise control, right? They're making a lot of money based on money, the money that they're managing, the money that they have under asset. That's not the right terminology.
Assets under management.
There we go. Thank you. That's the term I was trying to say. Like they've got enough assets under management that they don't need to add a whole lot more value to their clients. They're a little bit in coast mode, right? Which is not what you're looking for. You're looking for that financial advisor who's sharp and good and you could trust your clients with them,
Yeah.
but they also are looking for ways to add value to their clients. They actually care about the money being wired out. They actually care about the money that's sitting in a savings account and not invested in them. Like, that matters to them, right?
Right.
So I think having that feel based on how hungry are you to grow your practice? Are you looking to grow right now? Right? You're not looking for somebody who's desperate, right? That's not what but somebody who is in growth mode. It's important. And it could be a very large client who is grooming up someone underneath them to take over that book of business, or to be a junior underneath them. That can be a great partner as well, right? They've got the access to someone with all the knowledge, but they're up and coming themselves, can be a great fit.
Well, Justin, I think the thing that really caught my attention with you when I started following you, I can't remember when it was, a couple of years ago on YouTube, was that you're not just coaching the stuff, but you're actually a practitioner. And that gives you, I think, a real sense of where to go. But that said, you do have a program for people who want to learn this and add this to their business. That's called, I think, ProInsight. ProInsight.com is a website. I know that you have a tab there, learn more. Can you talk a little bit about the program, what you offer agents who are learning to help add this system or methodology to their business?
Yeah, you bet. So what I realized, Bill, it was interesting because I had started a coaching company a number of years ago, teaching agents how to get business from other professionals. And it was about a year and a half ago that I met my now business partner, who invited me to co-found and be the CEO of ProInsight. He showed me a digital platform that he was building. He'd recruited a couple technologists from Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon to help him to build this digital platform. And the purpose was to put all these professionals on one platform and train them how to open opportunities for each other. And at the moment that I was having lunch with Don Yoakum, is his name, for the first time, I realized that I was coaching one player on the basketball team, right? I was training the real estate agent how to do all of these things, when the other players, so to speak, like the financial advisor, the tax professional, the estate attorney, they weren't in the practice. So they didn't know the plays, right?
Right.
And so our mission has been to elevate the influence of professionals. We do that by having them team up with professionals in neighboring industries who can add a supplemental perspective. And value offering is not in a silo, but it's coupled with the other professionals around you. And so our platform is SaaS based. In other words, it's a simple software as a service. It's very affordable. And we're looking for agents in every single county of the country to have an exclusive position on our platform. That works to their benefit for a number of reasons. Number one, for agent-to-agent referrals, because they become the go-to in their particular county. And then when they come with a lender who's like them, it opens the door for them to add these other 30 professional categories onto the platform at no cost to the other professionals. So at a low cost, you get essentially 30 professionals all trained on how to think and act very collaboratively. And because it's software, it allows us to do it at, again, a very low cost, and really invite agents to be a part of a kind of robust professional network that is very much looking to refer each other real estate clients. So works out great.
Well, on the ProInsight.com website, there's a learn more button, and you get a webinar. We'll give you more depth of explanation what the program looks like. But again, I watched Justin learn on his format and methodology, read his book, and really he's one of those people, I think, that is leading the way for us to build our business as professionals. That if we raise our standards, of course you have to learn the contracts, how to sell houses, negotiate, all that. But as far as positioning yourself for business at a higher level, working with professionals would be the goal. So Justin, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you and look forward to continuing the conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Appreciate the opportunity.